Welcome to a new series on the channel called Is It Still Good? It sounds like a pretty cringy title, but it really isn't, because in this series we're going to take a look at older games that aren't spoken of much nowadays and see how they hold up to newer games. This episode is going to be on DRIVECLUB, a racing game developed by Evolution Studios and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation 4. It was released in late 2014 and announced during the PlayStation 4 press conference in February of 2013. After several delays, DRIVECLUB released worldwide in October of 2014, and when the game was released, it was a pretty controversial topic due to the online not working very well and there being very little content. The game released to a fairly mixed critical reception. The critics praised the visuals, sound design, and the controls, but criticized the online playability and the inconsistent AI and lack of gameplay variety. In July of 2015, the game had reached 2 million copies sold, becoming one of the best-selling PlayStation 4 titles to that date. DRIVECLUB is a racing game in which players compete in races around the world, in several different locations such as Canada, Chile, India, Japan, Scotland, and Norway, with varying race types. A major focus of the game is the club aspect. The game was heavily centered around the idea of winning races and gaining fame with your club while earning different rewards along the way. In DRIVECLUB, fame determines the player's level as well as the club level. As the player levels up, they automatically unlock items such as new vehicles, liveries, and color schemes. Every club member's action contributes to the club's overall success. As example, when your friend had a good winning streak that day, it will count for the whole club. The player can also choose to play the game without the club and gain fame to unlock cars by themselves. There are 3 main game modes in DRIVECLUB: Tour, Single Event, and Multiplayer. Tour is a campaign mode where you race in various locations around the world using set cars. A set of objectives are present, and when done well, it gets you more fame during the events. These are called face-offs. In the Single Event game mode, you choose what event you'd like to play. You can choose between drift, sprint, race, or time trial, and choose whatever location, weather, or other options you want. The multiplayer game mode revolves around competition and cooperation with real-life players. Players can complete challenges with social leaderboards, play with clubs, and play online races. There are a total of 50 cars available in the base game. The cars are split into 5 categories based on their in-game stats: Hot Hatch, Sports, Performance, Super, and Hyper. They range from a Golf GTI to a Lotus Evora to a Nissan GTR to a Ferrari F40 and to a McLaren P1. And right after the game was released, it got monthly updates which went on for 18 months with DLC packs that kept adding to the car list, with the game now having over 114 cars in total at the end of its life cycle.
The community was one of the selling points of the game and was one of the reasons why it became the most successful racing games on PS4. People started comparing the game to bigger titles such as Forza Horizon 2, which also came out at the time, and Gran Turismo 6, which was released in 2013. The game has sparked the interest of the racing game community, who were beginning to see the game as a potential competitor to these other titles. YouTubers such as Black Panther, Straight to Pippo, and many others began to promote the game. Video ideas such as car challenges and showcases gave the game the promotion from the community that really helped the game become as successful as it did. While the community made the game a unique experience with the photos and videos from the game, they were widely shared on Twitter, which were often noticed by the game developer Paul Wyszynski. Even Nissan's official Twitter account was fooled by a photo of 2 370Z Nissans driving in the game, which they thought was a real photo. The community aspect of the game helped the game stay alive even after the studio was shut down in March of 2016.
On October 18, 2013, Sony announced that DRIVECLUB would be delayed until 2014. In a statement posted on the PlayStation blog, the company states that the SEE Worldwide Studios and the team at Evolution Studios have made a very difficult decision to delay the release of DriveClub and DriveClub PlayStation Plus Edition until early 2014. Sony Worldwide Studios boss Shuhei Yoshida explained, DriveClub will be a truly innovative, socially connected racing game, but the team requires more time in order to deliver on their vision, and I'm fully confident the game will surpass your expectations. On March 10, 2014, PlayStation Software Product Development Head Scott Rode mentioned in an interview with IGN that the title has met further delays with the following statement, "What I will say is that it all comes back to a fundamental principle, and that's that we want to build great games, and we really don't want to release the game before it's ready." Rode or any other Sony representative could not at the time give a more specific release date, but hinted that it might take a while, referring to that the game has gone back to the drawing board. Evolution Studios experimented with Sony's Project Morpheus while developing DriveClub, which is now known as PSVR, and the game DriveClub VR was released in October of 2016. On April 30, 2014, game director Paul Rosinski stated that the delay was caused by the game's dynamic menu. This menu allows players to quickly navigate from menu to menu, join clubs, race, and perform any other activities within the game. In late 2015, DriveClub released DriveClub Bikes, an add-on to the game which allowed you to go through a different menu and race with bikes. Later down the line, on March 22, 2016, Evolution Studios released their final DLC pack for the game, Finish Line, which included the events Clocking Off and Long Goodbye. These names were referring to Sony announcing that Evolution Studios would be shut down. Luckily, a lot of employees from Evolution Studios got hired at Codemasters, which are working on a new IP called Onrush. With the info of the game being out of the way, we're going to look at how DriveClub still holds up nowadays. We're going to look at two main factors, graphics and gameplay. DriveClub's graphics are still one of the best looking of a 2014 game. Comparing this to newer titles like Gran Turismo Sport, Forza Motorsport 7, and Project Cars 2, it still is one of the best looking games and might even look better than some of these newer titles. Obviously, we're only going to compare this to these titles considering that it's a close track racer. With DriveClub being a simcade racer, the handling is obviously not going to be the most realistic. Comparing this to games like Gran Turismo Sport and Project Cars 2, you can tell that DriveClub is more on the arcadey side. Comparing this to Forza Motorsport 7 on the other hand, you can tell that both of the games have kind of an arcadey feel. DriveClub does have a very big downside, which is not being able to tune the cars to your liking. You also can't make the handling feel just the way you want, considering that there's no tuning options. This game has a very good selection of tracks, ranging from forest runs to the slidey roads of Norway. It truly has every single condition you can think of, from storm weather with lightning and heavy rain to bright orange and blue sunsets. The selection of cars is also very good, although there isn't much variety. There are a lot of cars that are added to the DLC which don't cost much nowadays if you want to buy it, but when it came out, the game's car list was pretty bare bones. One thing that the game's car list lacks very much of is Japanese cars. It only has a few brands like Honda and Nissan, but mostly has European cars. While racing in DriveClub, the AI can be pretty mixed. I can feel at some points that the AI was very slow or very fast on the same difficulty, but you can definitely tell when you go from amateur to legendary that the AI becomes very tough. One thing that DriveClub does very well though, comparing to these other games, is hardcore handling. When you enable hardcore handling, it truly becomes less of an arcade game. It gives you real challenge and doesn't just want you to speed around every corner. You really have to watch out where you're driving. But the question of the video of course is DriveClub still good in 2018? Well, that answer is pretty clear. If you want a good simcade racer and you really enjoy looking at great graphics and taking pictures of all your cars with beautiful scenery, I say go for it. In my opinion, it still holds up to a lot of big titles nowadays. But of course, it's up to you. So let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this video and what you think of DriveClub. Subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Is This Still a Good Game? Huge thanks to Dave, aka Next Gen Racing, for doing voiceovers in this video. But that's it for this video. Peace.